Everybody can rise for the pledge. We'll get started. Flags in the front of the room. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody. Again, welcome, and I'm sorry for a late start. We're going to start with a representative from the Southampton Town Police Department who's going to address some concerns from residents. If you want to come on up, we've got a microphone for you. Thank you for coming. Kathy Krul is here. You're going to have...
Just excuse me if...
Kathy Krul is here. You'll have plenty to listen to. Don't worry. Okay. I am going to ask that you take the microphone, though, if you don't mind, and then we're going to see if anybody has questions. So we'd like to start our meeting with a representative from the police department, talk a little bit about presence. Do you patrol this area?
I'm a sergeant. I patrol the whole area of the township, and I supervise any calls that need supervision beyond what the police officer is capable of doing at the or needs permission to do at the scene.
Excellent. And what is your name, sir?
Sergeant Howard Kalb. I've been a sergeant for 7.5 years, and I've been with the town police since 2002.
Excellent. Galb.
Kalb. K-A-L-B as in Bravo.
Okay. Are there any questions for the sergeant? So things are looking up. There was a heroin bust in Riverside, I think yesterday or the day before.
A couple of days ago, I believe. It started with the East End Task Force. They were looking for the person. We made a stop. He did wind up throwing a bunch of heroin, or we believe to be heroin, out the window of the car. We took him. We arrested him. The investigation that led up to it, I can't give out any details on that, but we did arrest him. He is currently in jail, I believe. I don't know if he made bail.
All right, thank you. Linda, you've got a question?
He threw it out in the powder form, so it was dispersed. It's dispersed in the air. It's dispersed in the air. No kids or anybody else could pick it up. The rain would have washed it. Any rain would have washed it away. It shouldn't be a health hazard once the time expired.
Okay. Stephen, you had a question?
I just wanted to make an observation. The age-old story with this 24 route, with people using that middle lane as a passing lane, until I'm dead, I want to see that gone. I'm not kidding. It's such a hazard. When they put the light at Oak, they're still using it, and now they're going through the turning lane the other way to pass everybody. And they just think it's like, okay, nobody... Where did the rule come from that you're allowed to do that? And why are they getting away with it so much?
I'll bring that to the attention of the sector operators that work here. They are allowed to use it a little bit, but it should only be enough to make a safe turn to wherever they're going. They're not supposed to use it as a passing lane.
Everybody agree with me?
Yes. Yes. Even the school buses.
Everything. They use the new lane, even though that yellow stripe goes across that whole thing down to the circle, they zoom down and they work their way in.
Yeah.
I believe it.
It's dangerous.
Incredibly dangerous for pedestrians like me. You know, because you don't.
It can be dangerous for anybody if somebody else is also making a left turn out of that was stopped in traffic before the light and they don't realize somebody's passing. Yes, that can cause an accident as well, and again with pedestrians or anybody that waves somebody through, not realizing that other lane is moving as well. But they are allowed to do it for a reasonable distance to safely make whatever turn it is.
I never complain about that. It's not that. It's the passing. While someone's trying to go here, meanwhile this guy can't make the right because this one's going around me, and collision. I've seen so many almost collisions there. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I have to say this also, is the parking at 7-Eleven hasn't stopped. They're still parking in the street. On the other side of the street, anywhere there's a sign that do not park there. It's just like, why?
I will I'll bring that concern to the bosses and to the sector operators. Probably better done by the traffic control officers when we have the young ones out there, because they'll have the ability to stay there. Because one of the concerns and problems with that is it's so quick. They go in, they grab their stuff, they get out. By time we get there to ticket it, it's gone.
Kathy?
7-Eleven problem, every Wednesday at 12 o'clock, there's a Pepsi truck that parks on Cypress. You turn around that corner and you can't see anything, you can't get off of Landry Road. I have called on him for probably 6 months now, and he still parks there every single Wednesday at 12. He's there doing a delivery.
Yeah, I agree.
And the passing on the lanes, I know the officers sit on the circle.
Yes.
If they could sit by the old glass place, because a big problem is at 4:30, 5 o'clock traffic, what people are doing is they're going down the center lane and cutting people off and cutting in. And I'm telling you, they're flying from the school that they have all the way down until they get just before the McDonald's or around where the crosswalk is, and they're cutting people off and cutting in. Because if I see somebody coming down and I know there's not a road, I ease over, so you're not getting past me, because they've done it too many times. They almost hit some kid, the guy was walking in the lane, people were stopped. He saw it as an option that he could go in there then, because he was in the center, and almost hit the person walking in the crosswalk. They weren't stopped for him, they were stopped for
That
that.
lane has to be removed. Has to.
Well, you need it, but they need maybe more arrows in it.
No, gotta be removed.
Even flashing yellow lights when you get hit by the head start.
Well, this is really, I mean, we should have someone from DOT here.
Yeah, that's a state road. We would enforce what's there rather than be able to make any changes.
Yeah, I mean, you can ticket people, but it's not gonna solve the problem until DOT limits the use of it.
Well,
'Cause
the crosswalk needs the flashing lights they have in the Hamptons. is what
that
they
would
need.
be helpful. They don't like those at the DOT for whatever reason.
One other thing is, can you spread the word that there's still a lot of this new drug activity on Cypress?
Okay.
But what they're doing is they're dropping people off on the corner of Albany and Pope. They drop them off there, so they walk, and they wait for them there, or they wait for them at the end of Albany.
So they're walking to Cypress from Albany and Pope?
Yes. The cars have been pulling on the side of the road by the stop sign, and they'll sit there and wait.
Unloading and loading, and it's hard to get out. And it's so, you gotta try to get out to the, like this, try to see, for the cars to come, you gotta go way out into the road to see, and you're gonna get clipped.
This is on Glider and Route 12.
Glider,
coming out of
that's right,
Glider.
24, it's horrible,
Glider in 24?
it's horrible, it's been going
It's
on
stopping
and
at
on.
the store, some of the, yeah, there's
It's
no stopping
delivery.
and standing
They
signs
stop
there
at
also.
And not only that, trouble people get up there and like wanna sell them just something to drink, they'll go in there and leave their car out there. And it says no parking at all times.
All right, anything else before we move on?
I have a question.
Yes, sure.
I know that there's conversations about having more community policing under the new chief, so I just want to know if there has been like an update with just kind of like our local community on terms of what practices will be implemented. I believe I saw police officers walking around the other day, but just wanted to know if there's any like strategies that are going to actually be implemented on the ground to continue to build on that.
That's above my level. I didn't set that up and I wasn't consulted on it, so I wouldn't have a fair answer for you.
Would you be able to ask the chief and maybe he can come back in September for a follow-up? Because that would be great, because he did mention that at the March meeting, that was special, so about 6 months later, that'd be good for an update. Okay, go for it, Stephen.
I just want you to know, I'm sorry we're beating up on you.
That's fine.
But you know what, we're angry because it used to be really, it started to look really good here, and all of a sudden mayhem is like all over the place, and it's like a free-for-all out there. People, the way they are, the loud music, the driving, I know it's summer, but it's getting popular out here. And you guys have to either double your forces or something and get on it, because it's dangerous. Everything out there is dangerous right now. I'm afraid to go out here.
I understand your
Just
concern.
so you know where we're coming from, you know.
No, I understand.
Although when I do see you and you pull me over for a ticket, I don't know what I take.
I was gonna say, that's
give
the
him
guy
2
that bugged me
tickets.
at the meeting, give him double.
If I'm the one that's pulling you over, you've done something seriously wrong, because I'm usually doing the supervising, not the actual pulling over.
Can I just ask you with the basic, what is our current basic level of service here? Because a lot of people don't know. How many sector cars are technically assigned to this area?
At the bare minimum is there's one assigned. There's almost always 2 assigned to this area, and usually when the crew units are working, we have at least 1 or 2 of them working in this area. But the bare minimum would be 1. It almost never happens, but sometimes it does. 2 is the usual, and then whenever we have the extra crew units, they come and they supplement the patrol units as well.
Okay, because I thought we had been assigned an additional car permanently last year.
No, we usually have the crew around here, though.
The crew.
The crew is almost always here. At least one of them, if the
Okay,
rest of them are
that's good.
working in a different area. But the Alpha 23 car is the permanent, must be manned. The 20 car is the last car to drop which is the second car here. It's the last car to drop if everybody starts calling in sick that day or something happens.
Okay.
Leslie, for me?
I gotta move on, Kathy, I'm sorry.
Just one thing.
We'll get you his email.
I just wanted to let the chief tell him thank you, because
Okay, we got it.
dispatch has been a lot better.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you, everybody.
That's it.
Thank you, Sergeant, we appreciate you coming out. We're gonna go a little bit out of order because I don't see the developer of the 7Z's property here just yet. No problem. So we're gonna go to Riverside Rediscovered for an update. Series or Angela?
Am I right, Charles? Are you
And then
taking
you've
this
got,
up?
would you mind using the
So you want to switch back to the... Is this a question and answer thing? Yeah, so switch back. Hang on a second.
Hello, everyone.
Hang on a second. Can you hang on a second?
Ready? Okay, we are. Hi, everyone. My name is Tidis Barrios. I am the community liaison for the Riverside Rediscover project. I'm going to give you a short update of some of the things we've been accomplishing this summer. So we partner with the Alliance, the Pecan River Community Development Alliance, and FRNCA on helping organize a job re-entry resource fair led by Tijuana Fulford. Could you stand up, Tijuana? If you guys haven't met her, please connect with Tijuana. She's a community organizer, the community liaison for the Alliance. So it was hosted here out of the community center. We had several vendors like Panera. We had BOCES. We had the Department of Labor. Several different United Health interviewing, hiring on the spot. It was the first time something like this was actually organized to our knowledge. Maybe there was something organized through other entities before, but we feel that it was a really good start. The vendors that came out said that they're definitely interested in partnering up next year, so we're looking to actually build on it. A lot of the community gave feedback on ways that it can be reshaped. Like someone I know on Facebook said we should be also including beds, and like we said, it was open to everyone, but we think we can continue to build through these partnerships next year. So it's something that we want to invite more people to collaborate on for next year. We organized our second annual school giveaway in partnership with FRNCA, the Alliance, Truth Community, United Healthcare, CME, and the Youth Bureau. It was hosted this year at Lutland Park. We had over 350 people show up. It was not just about giving a backpack. It was really about creating a community environment. So the Truth Community provided hula hoops, activities for the kids. The Youth Bureau did face painting. CME did activities with the children to kind of give them a taste of what an activated park can look like. So we were really satisfied with all the families that came out. It was a really diverse crowd, and it was just really a really fun-filled day, and we feel really happy that we were able to meet the school, help the families with some of the basic supplies. We know they're going to miss a couple more things, but we feel that we gave every kid a starter kit to start school. So we're very happy about that. That's something we're looking to continue to build on next year. And we also had a lot of residents come out and help us stuff backpacks and also donated items for the back to school event. So we're really happy with that. We also had our meetup this past month. Sean McLean gave a little bit of an update. Not much has changed since we last updated you in terms of the sewers. We're still working with Peconic Patler to see if they can tie to Riverhead independently from the Riverhead study that's being sponsored by the town. And also Renaissance is working with the town on the larger study. So we're hoping that either September or October we'll be able to provide you an update either at the FRNCA meeting or at our next meetup. So those are some of the things that have been happening. We've had somewhat of a quiet summer, but we're going to be gearing up to work on the health survey for the environmental justice grant that's going to actually help inform the design of the county park that's on Flanders of 14 acres. So that's kind of like our next major our next major project. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, you can talk to me, connect with me after the meeting, or you can always stop by our office. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We're going to continue on with our guest speakers. We've got Lynn Arthur here. Lynn is going to give us an update. You may remember her. She came and spoke earlier in the spring about some solar initiatives and things that were going on. So. And Lynn, I'm just going to ask you to use the microphone if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Welcome.
Awesome. How's that? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Usually I use charts, so I didn't do that today. I have some handouts. Maybe you could share just to see what I'm talking about. One over there. Great. Anyway, thank you, Ron, and thank you to the community for having me back. My name is Lynn Arthur, and I'm a subcontractor to the town of Southampton. I am funded by a state grant to talk about energy conservation, and the program I'm going to talk about is a town program called Tri Energy, and it's designed to help us all reduce our energy, or actually specifically our electricity consumption, so that we lower our bills, but we also reduce our consumption so that the utility does not have to continue to build out more capacity, which costs a lot of money, and that we all pay for in our rates. So on the South Fork, there's some, and all of Southampton, there's something really unique that's been going on. You might have read in the paper. While all of Long Island, their consumption of electricity is decreasing, out here it's increasing. In fact, have you seen that in the papers? This first chart, it's basically a linear increase. What you see is over time, over the next 15 years, PSEG has forecasted that we're growing significantly. In fact, this summer is the first year that we have a shortfall, meaning that demand is exceeding supply. And when I was here previously, you might remember on the second page, this diagram, I talked about summer peak. Every vertical line, it doesn't matter that you can see the particulars here, every vertical line on this graph represents an hour of consumption over a full calendar year of electricity. And for 8 months during the year, the capacity requirements are pretty low. It's this lower line. But in the summer, because our population triples between Memorial Day and Labor Day, the consumption of electricity almost doubles. But it's only on those really hot days. You know, in the summer, like last summer, it was August 14th. In my house, I had a blackout when consumption was so high that demand exceeded supply. And when that occurs, you have blackouts and all kinds of other problems. In fact, I live in North Sea. Did anybody have a blackout last summer that you remember? Raise your hand. No? See, I think over in this part of town, you're fortunate that you have multiple power sources east of the canal, we have one power source that comes across the canal, and it's like Christmas tree lights. But the good news is, or the bad news, because we have to pay for it, but the good news is the utility has a plan, and last fall, in September, they announced that they're going to do 5 things. You might have read about the offshore wind project. Ringing any bells? Okay, so the offshore wind project was approved. They did go to contract. It's going to be implemented in 2022. It's going to take them almost 5 years to build it. They're also putting batteries, large battery systems in East Hampton, and they're going through right now the planning process on that. In addition, they put in temporary generators that run on compressed natural gas, and those are already installed in East Hampton. And there's something else called direct load control, but basically it's a thermostat program where they remotely control thermostats of those customers who sign up for the program, and they pay them for the privilege to do that. And the last thing they're doing, this is number 5 of the 5 elements of the solution, is they're putting in transmission upgrades. Now, transmission upgrades are, new lines. And in this case, their plan is to put an underground cable across the canal all the way to East Hampton. And that's going to start in 2021. So we all have, you've been reading about the poles the steel poles on County Road 55.
51.
And 51. In fact, I went over, when that first happened, I went over to where the Northampton sign is. That Northampton sign turns out to be exactly right on the border between Brookhaven and Southampton.
GPS located.
And I counted 59 poles in Southampton. So the good news is, thanks to the board, as of, I think it's today, right, John? Southampton Town has joined the Brookhaven lawsuit to sue PSEG and LIPA for not following procedure. So you'll be reading about this in this week's Southampton Press, and thank you, John, for your efforts. And the whole board, right, for your efforts to make that happen. So there are 2 things that we can do to lower our consumption, reduce our rates, save the environment, and that is sign up for a free home energy audit or put solar on your roof. How many people already have solar on their roof? Anyone else? Very good. Has anyone in the room also conducted a home energy audit previously? Oh, great. Couple. All right. Awesome. And how many people have central air conditioning? And how about those of you who might heat your house with electricity?
God forbid.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's nice. It's expensive. Good. Good.
I mean, I'm not paying any more than my neighbors who have fuel of some kind.
Great.
For heat.
Great. The reason why I asked that question, though, is you actually, because you have electric heat, you're eligible for added benefits from the audit, which I'll describe in a second. So when you sign up for a home energy audit, here's what happens. A navigator, so I passed out these forms, and if you're interested, this is a voluntary program. It is absolutely free. And when you sign up, a energy navigator will call you and set up an appointment at your convenience. 2 technicians will be sent to your house to conduct a very special type of inspection. They will go from your basement to your attic, and they will do certain checks. They will look at safety. They'll check every place gas is attached to an appliance to make sure that there's no leakage. They will check your windows with a special device to see if there's any leakage, from the caulking or the various materials that those windows were installed with. And they will also, for those of you who have air conditioning or heating ducts, they will check the tightness of the ducts. Believe it or not, like in my house, my ducting is all below the floor, and my heat and my air conditioning is delivered through the ducting, but it was installed in the 80s. So when they did the audit, they actually taped all the seams in the duct, and they put this special kind of paint on top of that. And I was like, okay, well, what's that about? But they did a before and after blower door test, and they actually showed me the results. After they had done the sealing of the ducts, they told me that my house would be 10% tighter, which would have a direct benefit on my bill, which I'm going to show you in a minute was really true. The other thing they'll do when they do the audit is they will give you, I think, up to 10 LED bulbs for free. Now, LED bulbs, as you may know, are 90% more efficient, so that's going to lower your bill immediately. If you don't have a smart thermostat, that's another thing they might recommend. A smart thermostat is geo-synced with your, if you have like a smartphone, the thermostat can be controlled remotely. There's an app on your phone, and it will also know when you're, so it knows when you're home and when you're not. And while you might think, gee, that's a tricky thing, the good news about it is it will automatically turn the heat down when the house is empty, because there's also a sensor in the thermostat. So it knows even though you're away, if you have family members in the home, it knows that the home is occupied. So it'll turn the heat down in the winter when you're not there, and it'll also turn the air conditioning down in the summer when you're not there, therefore reducing your consumption of electricity and lowering your bills. And that by itself could be worth up to 15%, based on how much coming and going is going on. So on page 6, if you happen to have this, this is one of my bills from this winter. And just from those two measures, from replacing the LED bulbs in my house and sealing the ducts, I was able to reduce my bill by 14%. And it's proven out by, my PSEG bill, which is here. That saves me, because my cost is around $200 a month for my electric bill, so that's saving me $330. Well, I have central air, and I also have a pool, so it's like ridiculously expensive. But I'm saving $336 a year just from those two things. Now, if you happen to have electric heat and you have air conditioning, central air, you are eligible for free duct sealing, more bulbs, and they do it right at the audit. And that's what happened when I did my audit. Every year they change the program, and unfortunately they reduce the benefits a little bit, but it really saves you money. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy not to take advantage of it. That's why I'm doing these presentations. So that's how the home energy audit works. I'm going to talk quickly about solar and then get off the stage here. If you turn to page 7, this is a picture of my house from the roof. From the sky. Fortunately, I have a friend who has a drone, so after I put the solar on my house, I convinced my friend to come over and take a shot. So my system, again, I have central air, and my bill is about $200 a month. So my system is 35 panels, and it's what they call an 11K system, about 11,000 kilowatt hours per year. And that's a number, by the way, that you can look up yourself right on your PSEG account online. In my case, on the first warm day this summer, when I turned the air conditioner on, it was 75 degrees out, which is really not that warm, but I turned the air conditioner on that day. And as you can see from this diagram, this is the dashboard that comes with the solar. The solar generated the green, and the blue is my air conditioner cycling. But that day, I only used 14 kilowatt hours of electricity, but I generated 48. So the way net metering works, net metering is the construct that with PSEG offers. So every day that you generate more electricity than you use, you get a credit on your bill. And every time you use more than you generate, then it's a debit on your bill. And this is reconciled on a monthly basis. And that's what makes the economics here work. On the next page, this is really a summary. Most people are really interested in, because you were talking about it earlier, should I buy the system? Should I lease the system? I get solar installers calling me every single day trying to get in here. What is the right answer? This chart has 3 graphs, three curves on it. The yellow line represents, so for me, my bill is $200 a month on average. The yellow line represents a 5% increase in rates per year over 30 years. And you can see the curve is going upward. The line below it is a 2%. So rates are going to go up. There's no question. They're not going down. They're going to go up somewhere more conservatively, around 2%, but more aggressively, maybe around 5%. So somewhere in there, is the right answer on average. The blue line represents the financing cost of solar. And so in my case, let me summarize it this way. So my bill was $200 a month. My system cost around $43,000. That's the total cost of the system installed, all in. After the state and the federal subsidies, the cost of the system is actually only $23,000. And that entire amount I was able to finance with a New York State Smart Energy loan at 3.49%. And everybody's eligible for this. So my bill, my financing bill, is now $178 a month. And it's covering 100% of my electricity cost. So I'm actually making money. Every month, I'm paying my finance charge of $178. My PSEG bill is now $11 or $12 a month. So my total cost of electricity right now is $190, where I was paying $200. Now, when you consider over time that rates are going to go up, and that loan will eventually be paid off. The loan will be paid off in 15 years. If I sell the house, the loan is transferable to the next owner. New York State is doing everything it can to make this easy for us. I put no money down, zero. And my cost of electricity is $10 less than it would be if I was on a budget plan. So when you're evaluating solar, and I'm not selling anything here today except encouraging you to look into this. This is, question. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's right. We do. We have a lot of trees. The bad news is if you have a lot of shade, yeah, it's not going to work for you. However, if you have trees that can be topped, the cost of tree trimming, you get a 30% tax credit on your federal income tax for tree trimming in conjunction with a solar project. Also, if you have a roof that's more than 10 years old, you're not a candidate because you don't want to put an asset on your roof that's going to be up there for 30 years if your roof is, already old. But if you replace that portion of your roof, you get a 30% tax credit for that work as well. Again, the government on the federal and on the state level is doing everything they can to encourage us and take those obstacles out of our path for doing this. But you're right. There are other options that will be available if you really have a lot of shade and even tree trimming isn't going to help. There's going to be something called community net metering, and there'll be programs next year, maybe this fall, but probably next year, that will give you access to solar, basically like a cooperative, where we would put solar on a large building like Kmart or some store, and you could buy into the project and get these benefits, but not have the solar on your roof. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, sure.
Well, you was talking about, do you ever own it?
Oh, you own it.
Always rent it.
No. What I described, I own the system. No money out of pocket. I have a New York State loan. You obviously you have to apply for the loan, but it's New York State. It's New York State, so they are doing everything they can to, make it accessible to everyone. So I own the system, no money out of pocket. I pay my loan every month.
But once the loan is paid off,
Then I own it. I own it.
You don't have to pay out anymore.
Zero. In fact, that's what I try to show on this. I'll show you on this chart. This blue line. So I pay almost $180 a month for 15 years, and then the cost goes to zero. And Ron, for the solar system, yes. And it's the particular, each manufacturer has different terms and conditions. But the system that I have has a 25-year bumper-to-bumper warranty. When you buy solar, you're buying three things. You're buying the photovoltaic technology, which is the panel, the racking system that it's installed in, and the inverter, which converts the DC to AC, so that it can be used in your house. It's, those three items together. Sure, you need to have tax, what they call, you need to pay federal and state income tax in order to get the value. That's the way that government delivers. That's right. Right. You might not be able to take advantage of the whole amount in 1 year, but you do have, it depends on, see, these are the details you need to work out when you actually get the free energy, the free rooftop solar evaluation. In my case, I had to take the tax credits over 2 years, because I didn't pay enough taxes in order to take advantage of the tax credit that I'm. I itemize. Yeah. Well, I don't. I mean, I have a complicated return, so. But that. Yeah. I don't think I'm qualified to really answer this question. I think the best thing for you to do, yeah. Yeah, help me.
Credit.
Yeah, and you have to show proof that you engage in the program, and then if you do something like TurboTax, it can be simple. Yeah, all you have to do is you have to it prompt you. There's a place where you have to get your credit line to tell you the different tax credits for different things. Right there on the. Even if you take the standard deduction of the $7,000, you're still going to deduction with that. Correct, it's still going to be credit. Yep. Take that off of my adjusted gross income. You have to show you have a receipt. You have to show proof that you did that.
Got it, thank you.
Question over here.
You mentioned something about cutting down trees, because I want to get the solar panels. I have electric heat. On the budget, my bill is $330 to $360 a month. And I just had trees cut in the backyard that cost me $2,000. And I still have another one that splits into 2 that they're coming back in the fall, so that they can cut that one down so that I can clear off the one roof.
My understanding is, as long as it's within the same calendar year that you go to contract for solar, all that work can be, you've got to, I'm not the person to answer tax questions. You got to talk to your accountant about what makes sense for, how your return is prepared. But my understanding is, as long as it's within the same calendar year.
And with where mine is so high, I mean, we're very diligent with it too. My bedroom's the only thing upstairs. When I leave in the morning, I shut the air off. I go and turn it on an hour before I go to bed. We have a fire. We put in a gas fireplace to save with electricity in the winter, if I'm home, the gas fireplace is on, so I mean, and it's still way up there.
I highly recommend you get an energy audit because
Well, we put cathedral ceiling, which takes a lot of it, and we put a skylight in, and we actually had someone, we're gonna put a different ceiling fan in the center to blow
blow air
down
down.
again.
Yeah, but when you get the energy audit, and you'll be there talking to them, they're going to give you free advice about what makes sense. You know, what other options are available. And by the way, all of any recommendations that they give you, so they give you this list of things customized to your house that you can do to make your house more energy efficient. They'll also tell you what the cost of those improvements would be. So now you've got a shopping list and a bunch of estimates as to what this would cost. You're under no obligation to buy it from them. You can, go out and bid it to someone else, do the work yourself, do it next year. But that energy loan that I told you about, that loan is also, you're eligible to apply for that loan. In my case, I used it all for solar. But you could use it to fund the improvements that you need to make your house more energy efficient.
We replaced all the doors, replaced all the windows.
Yeah, because I'm about to do a tankless water heater, and I'm going to be spraying foam around the sill plate in the basement. So I couldn't do all these things at the same, because it's too much money to lay out at one time. But now you got a list. So any other questions? I don't want to take too much time. Oh, sure.
On the financing versus purchase of the solar system, the state grant, the state loan is a 15-year fixed term, is that correct?
Yes.
And you pay that off early?
Yes.
Then you adjust the term.
Do it shorter? I believe yes. Anyone else? Okay, great. So the last page just has a list of things you should consider when you're, but I'm going to leave my business card in the back. You're welcome to call me, write me. I'm happy to talk to you on the phone. We are now doing solar home tours. I'm arranging a variety of these things in the area for people who already have solar on their house. And if you're interested in being invited to one of those, because then there'll be solar installers there on site, they could answer your questions more specifically that I couldn't answer very well, sorry. One of the guys, in fact, is actually an accountant, one of the solar installers, so I'm sorry he's not with me tonight to be more precise about that. But if you're interested in that, I'll leave a sign-up sheet in the back. But I've passed around these sign-up sheets. If you're interested in either the free energy audit or the free solar evaluation, just fill it out, check the boxes, and leave it with Ron, and I'll get that, tomorrow or whenever I see you next.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you
Lynn.
again.
We appreciate you coming back. Sure. All right. Is Becky here by any chance? Becky, is that you in the back? No. So the developer of 7Zs is not here yet, I don't think. No. Okay, so we're going to move on with the agenda. We're going to go to Doris to read the treasurer's report. So we have 2 months worth to catch up on, a June and then a July.
Good evening. The report for June of this year, checking balance from prior months was $12,825.91. Donations, $34. Beautification Town of Southampton grant was $1,000. Membership income was $140. Total credit income, $1,174. Calendar raffle award, $50. Food truck expense, $2,000. Suffolk County Water Authority, $23.81. Membership drive supplies, $33.78. PSEG, $19.08. Femin by Curtin Media was $100. Website for May and June, $50. Scholarship award, $3,000. Beautification Gardening Tools, $62.43. Total debits and expense was $5,339.10. Closing checking balance was $8,660.81. Saving opening a balance was $7,441.88. Dividend 61 cents. Closing saving balance $442.49. So the total for FRNCA's checking and saving account together is $16,103.30. This is June report. FRNCA encumbered funds. Riverside Park Maritime Trail, $500. PRCDA sponsor account, $492.68. Education, $3,648.88. Beautification, $4,400.57. That's the report for June.
We have copies of them up here if anybody wants to see them later.
The July report, checking balance from prior months, $7,442.49. Calendar raffles award, no, food truck expense, $250. Website for May and June was 0. Scholarship award was $1,000. Beautification garden tools, $1,250. Closing check-in balance, $7,410.81. Savings opening balance, $7,442.49. Dividend, 63 cents, I'm sorry. Closing saving balance, $7,443.12. Total of FRNCA's checking and savings account, $14,853.93. Riverside Park Maritime Trail, $500. Education, $2,648.88. Beautification, $4,400.57. This is the PRCDA sponsor account was closed out of this money for $492.68 and transferred to their bank account to be administered by the board of directors. That's the report for June and July. Any questions?
The checking balance from prior month in July, it looks like it's $8,660.81 in June. And in July it says $7,000. I think you just copied savings. So I think there's like a clerical error.
Okay, thank you. I see what you're talking about.
Okay.
All right, we'll get that fixed. Any other questions on the treasurer's report? All right, I make a motion that we accept both treasurer's reports with the clerical correction. Do I have a second?
Second.
Millie, all in favor? Aye, all right. So I do want to acknowledge one other person. We have Councilman John Bouvier with us tonight. He is our liaison from Flanders, and I want to thank you for attending the meeting tonight. So welcome, Councilman Bouvier. We may have a couple of questions for you. All right, good. We're going to move right along into the agenda. The developer is not here. I don't see them for the 7Z's property, so I'm sorry. We did call to confirm, right, Sarah? Sarah's my witness. We called several times to confirm last week and today, and last we heard they were coming. So I apologize for their not showing up yet. Let's hope they still make it. We added a letter of support to this town's application for the Long Island Regional Economic Development Council grant. This is a grant that municipalities can apply for. So we sent a letter of support on FRNCA's behalf. This is the joint one with Riverhead. This is a joint application with the town of Riverhead that would award, if we're chosen, there's 10 regions in all of New York State. Long Island is its own region. Last year, they awarded $10 million to the village of Old Westbury. This year, we applied with Riverhead Town, and the area that we've identified is the Riverhead train station into Riverside. So we've applied to the towns, have applied for $10 million. That would spur development, that would address a whole host of issues. So it was a pretty impressive grant application, and we're hoping that with Riverhead and Southampton applying together, that we stand a better chance of getting it. And again, FRNCA supported the efforts with a letter. The Town of Southampton Police Department also applied for a grant that would allow them to hire 2 more police officers. They asked for a letter of support, and we supported that application as well. We talked a little bit about the need for increased police presence, and again, are supporting the town's efforts in finding additional funding to hire additional staff. We did a membership drive again. So when we had the food truck festival, you may remember that we collected people's addresses. Sarah Hunault sorted the almost 1,000 cards out. She sorted my people who lived here and people who didn't. All the people that lived here, we sent a letter asking them to join FRNCA, and somebody put a stack in front of me today, so it worked. We got a bunch of members. Was that you, Sandy? That's yours. That's our stack. Okay, so it's working. So we'll have a report next month on the additional members that we've gotten. The CME, which is the Children's Museum of the East End, and the Ludlam Avenue Park update. We're still working with the town. You may have seen an article come out in the middle of the early part of July that Kristen Doulos in the Parks Department put together a capital budget for building a building at Ludlam Avenue Park. So we are still actively pursuing that building. We're working on the floor plans, and we're working with the town to get that building built. So it was in the tentative capital improvement budget for 2018. I don't believe, Councilman Bouvier, has that been passed yet? No, it's still tentative. So we're working on specifics. Yes. Okay. So we're working on the floor plan and we're working on the layouts in conjunction with the town and the Children's Museum of the East End director, Steve Long, and Riverside Rediscovered. So we're working that out, and everybody still remains committed to getting that building built and getting it built soon. So, yes, you had a question.
I just want to say, I drive past Ludlam Park.
Oh.
I drive past Ludlam Park frequently during the week, during the day, and it's a lot of activity going on there with the new soccer fields and the basketball equipment court, and it's very nice to see. So it's got some good results from revamping it.
Awesome. And for anybody that doesn't know what Sandy's talking about, we had worked with the Town Parks Department earlier this year to change out one of those baseball fields for a soccer field and to change out the volleyball court for an extra basketball court. It's lit up there. There's now 12 basketball hoops. There's bleachers. There's a repaired scoreboard. So the Town of Southampton Parks Department, specifically Kristen Doulos, John Irwin, and the support of the town board, really did a number on that park and bringing it back and making it more active. So I'm glad that you've noticed that, and I'm glad that you let us know, Sandy, because that was a lot of hard work on behalf of FRNCA and everybody that worked on the project in conjunction with Riverside Rediscovered. Yes, Kat.
I happened to see somebody posted something to a friend of mine the other day from Flanders. Oh my God, we went and played ball and it was so nice not to have somebody sitting on the side to keep score.
Nice.
Like, where were they playing?
Yeah, they fixed the scoreboard. I mean, it's really nice.
We went and there's a real scoreboard and we had the scoreboard keeping score and we didn't have to make somebody sit there.
Holding up fingers?
Score.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You've noticed that too? Oh, wonderful. Oh, okay.
Across from the park?
And it's all been positive? Excellent.
Very active there.
They've been doing that for a while, and more children, more kids coming. So it wasn't so good last year, but now the kids are coming out, and it's very nice. And they have pizza, and they have music. And it's nice.
They used to do it here, but they didn't get the word out about it, because I volunteered when they first started doing the teen nights, and then they did a couple of times in Hampton Bays, they did at the beach, where the kids got dropped off there, and they were there for like 4 hours and supplied something for them to eat and snacks, and they had a DJ, and they had music. It was when one of the clubs closed, they allowed them to use the parking lot and the property from it.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. That's great to hear. That's good feedback. All right. Thank you, Councilman Bouvier, for your support too. Thank you. All right.
Accredited Kristen Doulos and John Irwin in the Parks Department, so they've been doing a fantastic job all around the town. I'm glad to hear that feedback, and I'll take that back to Kristen. I'll see you Thursday.
Excellent. The next one, the Riverhead Country Fair, is coming up in October. Linda had an idea that FRNCA would consider getting a tent or a table and talking about what we do and using it as a way to recruit new members. So we wanted to float the idea and see what people thought. So the Country Fair takes place on Main Street. They close it down. It comes onto Peconic Avenue, and we could set up a tent at any course of any part of time over the weekend and see if we could, try to get some more members. Would anybody be interested in helping man the tent?
I'm willing to volunteer at least an hour, because physically I can't stay in one spot for longer. But I'm willing to volunteer at least an hour out of the week.
Okay.
Or a table, however.
Okay.
I'll volunteer a couple of hours.
Okay, Graham, how many hours do you want to volunteer? 2 or 3? This time you don't know. Okay, you'll get back to me.
No comment.
All right, Patty?
When is it?
It's always the closest.
We could work that out. I don't see why they wouldn't offer us a discount. So, all right, so we've got 2 people interested in volunteering. I'd be interested in volunteering. It's definitely something we can discuss more. Sandy would hang out? Okay. You would come too. Awesome. All right, so it's definitely something worth exploring. We're on TV, Kathy. Let's discuss that idea after.
If we put it just on our side of Southampton, we need permission from the town board.
We're on it, on TV.
Let everybody know.
Thank you, Linda. You're a mind reader. You're a mind reader. All right. So this, I'm going to put Linda on the spot, but there is an advisory board in the town of Southampton for Veterans Affairs. And this is something I'd mentioned to Linda. Linda, for anybody that doesn't know, is really passionate about veterans, veterans benefits, veterans recognition. And she's a little jealous of the town of Riverhead because they have a veterans discount card, which is sponsored by the town, but local businesses all contribute discounts. And then if you are a veteran and you have this card issued by the town, it entitles you to discounts on haircuts and groceries and services all throughout the town of Riverhead. So Linda likes this idea and has championed it and has been talking to me about it. And it was something that FRNCA was going to consider working with and hopefully in partnership with Linda. But we're always looking for people from Flanders, Riverside, and Northampton to join these advisory boards. Currently, the Veterans Advisory Board only has 5 people. There's 4 men and 1 woman. So I talked to Linda about her interest and see if maybe she was interested in representing the area and working on Veterans Affairs. And as far as I know, you said you were interested. So I wanted to thank you for that. And we're going to go about, putting your application to the town board and seeing if they're looking for new members as well. And I'll see if there's a councilman in the room who might put in a good word for you. Okay? So, Councilman Bouvier, keep an eye out for Linda's resume because I think she'd be a great addition for the Veterans Affairs. All right, thank you.
Ron, I might be interested in filling an application for that too.
Awesome. All right. That would be excellent because I know transportation is sometimes an issue for Linda. So if we can get 2 people from Flanders, Riverside, Northampton, that'd be great. Maybe you can drive together. Not to put you on the spot, but the more representation we have in this area, the better.
Where do they meet?
Town hall, once a month
At night?
in the afternoon. Yeah, Southampton. Not off the top of my head. I did, but not off the top of my head.
Because I might be interested too. I just
Okay. So I'll send out an email to the 3 of you with the information and how you go about getting on one of those boards and what you have to do. All right, thank you guys. There's tons and tons of boards in the town of Southampton. There's Anti-Bias Task Force, Housing Authority, Zoning, Planning. So if you have a skill set and you're willing to volunteer some time, let us know. Let Councilman Bouvier know. We'll help you try to get some people from our area on those boards. Tons of stuff. There's youth advisory. There's all sorts of things where people have skills that they can contribute to those boards.
We do have the Solid Waste Advisory Board, which is talking about garbage and recycling. It's a pretty important subject. We don't have good representation from the western part of the town. So I would solicit anyone who's interested in that subject. It doesn't take a broad knowledge, but it certainly is an important board to advise our municipal director on how we implement single street recycling, different types of recycling in our transfer stations. And I find it, and I know I find it a little underrepresented in the western part of the town. So it would be good if someone from Flanders was interested in
All right, thank you, Councilman Bouvier. Moving along, we have beautification. We hired our contractor in the month of July. We didn't have a meeting, so we didn't get to talk about it. We sent out bids. We've got 2 bids from local companies that met the insurance requirements, so we went with the lower of the bids. I believe it's a new contractor that we haven't used before yet, so we did not use last year's bid. Thank you. And he sent his bills, okay. So we did hire that. We also tacked on a couple of extra works, like minor repairs to the stone rock wall around the sign as you come in from Hampton Bays, trimming the weeds in the grasses back on the side in Riverside by the library. So the beautification team here maintains the corners of Flanders Road and 105, all the signs in town, the plantings, the flower beds, and then we're still looking for volunteers to help out in the community garden, which is right outside this building. So if you do have a green thumb, if you have 15 minutes where you want to help weed, if you can tell the difference between a plant and a weed, we could use your help. So by all means, stop at that garden. No one's going to stop you. Pick some weeds, pick some vegetables, help us out. But know what you're doing, please, because I tried to help and I killed all the green beans. It was me, yes. And then I signed the log as Vince Taldone, so. There's a couple of things I didn't add to the agenda, but I want to talk about real quick. They are quick things. The first one, Doris Dacus, her church is doing a celebration and has asked if FRNCA would do a full-page ad in the church bulletin. So I'm going to have Doris speak, journal. So I'm going to have Doris speak about that just briefly, and then we're going to take a vote on whether or not we can support this.
My church, Friendship Baptist Church, which is right down at the end of Bell Street, is celebrating its 50th anniversary this October 14th. And we're having a big celebration that Saturday at the old Calverton Length, and that Sunday we're celebrating the church's 50th anniversary. So we're doing journals, and with the journal, with this like advertisement. And the full page ad is only $25, a half page is $15, and a booster just to put your name is $3. So if anyone would like to have a business, would like to take an ad, receive a paper from me to give me an ad, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
When is the celebration?
The celebration is October 15th at the church. But we're having the banquet at Old Calverton's Length the 14th, and the tickets for that would be $75.
So
If anyone want tickets, see me, I'll have tickets if you're interested in attending the banquet.
we're going to do a motion because Friendship Baptist has supported us. I think that for $25 to do a one-page ad for FRNCA is a no-brainer. I see a lot of you shaking your heads no. Sorry, we're getting over it. We're going to pass the motion. So I make a motion that we spend $25 for Friendship. Vince will second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Just Angela. Okay.
Thank you.
Patty, would you mind speaking a little bit about the blood drive and the success of it? Yeah, we're going to need you to use the mic, Patty. So for anyone that doesn't know, Patty and Babs chair the blood drive each year. We have two, one in July, one in December. They head it up with the Flanders Fire Department. It's a partnership, and Patty's going to talk a little bit how we did this year.
Okay, we collected 75 pints. We had almost 80-something people come. Some were deferred. Some gave extra through the Alex program. And the next drive is January, and we hope to see everybody who's eligible to donate. If you can't donate, come down and help be a escort from giving blood to the canteen. We could use any volunteers anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for all the hard work you do, from putting out the signs, taking the signs in, arranging it, making sure that the blood center sends enough staff, having refreshments, getting the firehouse all cleaned up. So thank you, Patty and Babs, for your efforts. So this year I had convinced Sarah to donate blood for the first time. It was a family affair. Her mom came. I was there. She was very concerned she was going to pass out. And I said, Sarah, I don't think that's going to be a problem. What's the worst that could happen? As I said, what's the worst that could happen? The guy next to her not only passed out, he had a seizure. So this is Sarah's first time giving blood, and there's a guy having a seizure next to her. But she stuck it out. She gave her donation. We had a great afternoon, and I got her piece of hero. So thank you to everybody that donated and for all the people that were nervous and did it anyway. We did receive a couple of thank yous from our scholarship recipients. Kathleen Gregory mailed in a really nice thank you letter, which I can't find. And then the Women of the Moose and the Southampton Trails Preservation Society, you may remember we sent some money to them. They also sent in thank you cards. So I was going to read them, but unfortunately misplaced the folder. Patty, would you mind also speaking about the 5K, because we're changing it up a little bit this year? All right, so each year FRNCA does a 5K scholarship run walk. It fully funds our scholarships that we give out. This year we gave out $4,000 in scholarships. We had our most successful race ever. One of the problems that we're having, though, with the race is that we always have to have it in the wintertime because of the course we were using. So there was a suggestion made to maybe change the venue, and Patty's going to talk a little bit about how successful that was and what we're doing this year.
Okay, weather was an issue. So we looked into getting another venue to have a new race in better weather. Through the sponsored by legislator Bridget Fleming and Assemblyman Fred Thiel, we can have the race at Suffolk Community College Eastern Campus on Sunday, October 15th. That was the date that they gave us. I'm sorry it clashes with the church, but you can at least have a good party the night before for the run in the morning before you go to church. It's at 10 a.m., rain or shine. Open to all runners, joggers, walkers. $20 pre-registration. Day of race, $30. Again, it's October 15th. We need sponsors. We need runners. Please mark it on your calendar. And
Either one.
the FRNCA.org should have a link for registration. And also island timing. You can register online also.
And we're going to send all these details out. This was all ironed out this week, so we're going to send an email out to past runners. And I want to thank Monica. Monica has agreed to get 5 of her closest friends to walk with her that day. So thank you, Monica. We look forward to 6. Awesome. So we look forward to all of your friends coming out to walk.
Perfect. What time is it? 9 to
10 a.m. Yeah. All right. So the last item on the agenda before we break is a sad one for me. So unfortunately, I'm going to be resigning as president of FRNCA. But this is a good thing because tomorrow I will be joining the Riverhead School Board. So I'm going to be on the Board of Education for Riverhead. I'm going to be one of the trustees for the Riverhead School, and will be the first representative from Flanders, Riverside, and Northampton in about 10 years. So I hope to advocate for us at a different level. I'm really excited about it. So.
Congratulations. Can you use your influence to get the community service part of the high school program for Flanders high school students to do community service in Flanders?
That is a goal. That's something that we started through FRNCA with our scholarship program that went really well. You may have noticed there were a lot of high school kids helping at the food truck festival, helping for the trash cleanup. We're trying to get those students involved on the Flanders, Riverside, Northampton side, and I think that's definitely something where we're going to talk about it. So this is the first place that this is being announced, so I want to thank everybody here for hearing it first. Again, I'm excited about it, and I want to work with the community to really bring representation from our side and see what we can accomplish. Yes, serious.
Why would you resign from the board? I don't see the conflict necessarily of interest because you don't vote on education items.
We don't, but we do a lot of advocacy stuff, and I don't want to be put in a position where I have to advocate for or against one group or the other. So it was something that we had discussed about, because another board that I'm going to be resigning from is the Housing Authority. So that's happening Thursday. So I will no longer be on the Housing Authority either. But it's because I want to put a lot of focus and energy on the school board, and I want to do a good job by everybody, and hopefully get reelected in May if it comes to that. But there is an inherent conflict, I believe, by advocating on behalf of the residents while being responsible for such a large portion of a tax base. So the school district represents a $130 million budget. 75 to 80% of our tax bills are school taxes. So I think it would put me in an awkward position to be doing it. So I don't think there's a compatibility of office.
Can I speak?
Yeah, Vince is.
And Ron and I had talked about that, and in particular, because of our tax exempt status with the IRS, we really can't have board members who are involved in elected office campaigns for themselves. You're free to, of course, do anything for any candidate you'd like as an individual. But anytime you have a board member running for office, and although he's being appointed, he's now will be in an elected office, because next year he has to run to be reelected. That's the reason why we just can't allow it. We could risk losing our tax exempt status. Otherwise, we'd never let him go.
And I plan to stay. Yeah, I plan to stay very active. I really enjoy raising money for FRNCA. I enjoy membership. I enjoy newsletters. So that's the commitments I've made that I want to continue on. I want to build the food truck festival. I want to develop partnerships with other organizations. And I think I can still do that without being at this table. So,
This is still
yeah.
resignation spots?
This is now. Yep. So now that I am standing down, the way that this works, the bylaws automatically put Vince Taldone as vice president into the president spot, and there's a vice president vacancy. So it is up for the remaining 4 board members to choose that vice president. And I would like to know if there, I'm just going to do this, so, of any interest that there is. So Stephen Schreiber, who was the past vice president and decided not to run this year so he could focus on beautification, he is interested in coming back as the vice president. The board is comfortable with that decision, but I think it's only fair to see if there's any other interest for the board to consider. If there is any other interest, please let the board know. Otherwise, I think we're going to proceed with Stephen filling that vice president spot. He's done a supporting the president, that's the first one. If the president is not able to make it, you'd run the meeting, you'd set the agenda. There's that, and then you have to co-chair a subcommittee. So the one that Stephen has picked is Code Enforcement and Beautification. So all the board members up here also chair subcommittees. So that would be what it entails as well, which whatever your skill set lends itself to. Those are pretty much the responsibilities of the vice president. Okay. So with no other interest at this time, and again, this position is only till April, so if you are interested in the future, there's plenty of spots and positions to run for in April. So with that, this is my last meeting, but it's really cool, you guys, because I got a badge. Hold on. Check this out, right? So they gave me a badge with a picture on it and said, now you don't need visitor passes when you go to the school. So this is very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. At FRNCA, you do not get a badge and nobody lets you in anywhere. With the school board, you can go wherever you want. So it's official. All right. I get sworn in tomorrow night. It's very exciting. I'm making my mom come. Now I'm making my grandma come. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. And I am still running for trustee. Those offices I can hold independently. So one is the town of Southampton, one is the town of Riverhead. So for anybody that didn't know, I'm also running for Southampton Town Trustee, which is like the town board of the beaches and waterways. I'm running with incredible people, and I'll be back in September to talk about that as a guest of FRNCA. So it's exciting stuff. You're not getting rid of me too soon. So all good things. Of course I'll still come to you. That's the whole point of representing them. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I'd like to make a motion. Well, no, I'd like to make a motion that we accept Vince Taldone as FRNCA's president and Stephen Schreiber as the vice president. Do I have a second? Yes. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Just Angela. Okay. All right. Break.
Okay, everyone, I'd just like to have your attention for a moment.
If we can come back just for 2 seconds.
Okay, well, okay, everyone, I just want to say, for all of us, really, thank you to Ron, who has done an amazing job in this past year plus months.
Hello.
Actually, we've raised more, or he has helped us. In fact, he has raised the money, by and large, with the help of others, more money than we've ever had before to fund our operations, to fund beautification. We've given more scholarships than ever before. We've teamed up with more organizations than we've ever done before. We've reached out to the community. We have those kids playing in Ludlam Park, in part due to Ron's endless efforts to push the town to do what it ought to do, and it is responding. It was aware of the problem and came through. But you need to have a voice from the community to do that. Ron has done that, and I thought it was too tacky to ask him to print up an appreciation card, so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. There's still time, Millie. I know where you live. Okay. All right. So we are going to pick that winner now. What I love is that they've taken 30 photos. None of them are good. I know. You're trying your best. Thank you.
It'll be the one when your mouth is open.
Yeah. All right. So who's the winner, Patty? 303904. All right. Congratulations, Kathy.
All of these tickets, nothing. I give up.
Oh, last bit of news. Unfortunately, we were planning a bonfire for August 26th. The permit did get denied. The fire marshal and the police department felt that it was too dangerous to have the fire on Flanders Road. So we looked at some other locations, but there's nothing we can pull together in time. There is an appeal process, but it's lengthy, and we're still likely to get the same answer. Unfortunately, they were not willing to offer any mitigating suggestions. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but there's going to be no bonfire at the end of August. So we'll figure out another way to commemorate the month. We did do some cookouts, not cookouts, but kayak and canoe events out of the beach on Long Neck Boulevard. That was a lot of fun. We had over 40 people participating. We all made s'mores. We made a fire pit. All that was legit and legal and on the up and up. And it was a lot of fun. So we'll probably do another one of those at the end of August to mark the end of the summer and just have it social. Yes? Oh, that's done too. So that came about as a couple of residents speaking to the deputy town supervisor, who put together a solution that wasn't super popular. There was a public hearing on it last Tuesday. A bunch of residents made it to town hall to speak. 92 people signed on to a petition saying that they didn't think that was the right solution to the problem. So the board closed the public hearing, they withdrew that resolution, and they're committed to working with Bayview Pines on coming up with a solution that will work within the boundary of law. So that's something that the Bayview Pines Civic Association will be working on, in the coming months or hopefully before next summer. Go for it. You're 100% right, but it's, I hear you. I hear you. That's, I hear you, Dave. It was kind of fun. So, yes, Millie. We were going to do that. There's a little bit of tension with the Friends of the Big Duck, and we'll leave it at that. So for anybody that's been to one of those meetings, you know what I'm talking about. I know we're on TV. We're allowed to have tensions, Kathy. So we want to do a drive-in movie. Pastor Keith has offered his property again, which I think is another appropriate spot, and there are no tensions with Pastor Keith. So if you haven't met that man, you got to. He's everything. So we're going to pursue a drive-in movie night in September or potentially October. We're going to look to do that at Pastor Keith's property next door. Again, pending special event permit approval. So, any other questions? Anything I can help clarify? I want to thank Tia Fulford. She's here from the Butterfly Effect Project. They did a door-to-door, kind of like their own Meals on Wheels. Right, Tia? Tia collected a ton of food and then distributed it to the residents of Riverside with her volunteers. All young kids. It was a great story. If you haven't had a chance to read it, I think it was in News Review. They covered it. And, it's just heartwarming that the more you do in a community, the more other people want to do in a community. And it's great to have Tia helping us out and working with us and taking these initiatives and doing them herself. So thank you, Tia. You're always great to see you. All right. Anything else? Anything else? All right. I know. I got 3. I'm not giving up this seat. I'm taking it home. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody. It really has been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed serving the community and getting to know everybody and working on things that make all of our lives better. So thank you for having me. All right. Thank you for the nice words, too.